think that would be. Actually, I think
they're borderline unkillable.
Great.
But they again they have that blandness.
It's scaling in the sense
unkillable. Bonus action, you wild shape, you get your hit points. Drop it over, you wild shape again, then you know you get 2 short rests.
Owlbear's like 5 HP plus.
Yeah.
I agree.
Can't even play the multi-class. Don't allow you to access.
Yo, we're live, gang. You can.
I did.
Well,
I did too.
Pretty sure I was reading that they didn't carry over your class feature.
Already on our
all that is stuff carry over. You're supposed to have all your class features.
Alright guys, we'll get into this after an intro. Welcome back to Critical Failures. That's us. We're the Critical Failures. We're here on Tabletop Troops, live on YouTube again, and today we're going to be talking about every D&D nerd's favorite game, Baldur's Gate 3. And specifically about the part of it that's the most like a D&D game, which is the whole class mechanics, which is everything your character can do in combat and in RP and all that stuff. And so yeah, we're gonna look back at how we ranked our 5th edition classes and see how they compare to the Baldur's Gate versions. I think all around the classes all got a buff. So I mean, as a general thing, but like some of them may have like gotten slightly lowered, but like as a general, like all of them kind of like got a like the power of classes kind of all got a jump in power.
I think there are the other class really needed.
I don't think Paladin got bumped down.
I just think
the fact that strength maybe overall got a buff in this jumping. The fact that chainmail having to wait for chainmail is just. But once you get that out of your system, the levels. But like they're hours a little
They're
quicker.
good.
9 cents advantage.
After what I said, maybe it is. So the exact same from tabletop.
Everything
That's great.
felt like a little bit. Short rest classes all got. Now it's not.
So we have our 5e rankings in front of us. If you guys want to follow along at home, we don't have it on the screen, but if you want to find it, it's at. You can find it at r/tabletop troops on Reddit. Unfortunately, that's the only place it is. Perhaps I'll tweet it out afterwards. So if you want to find us, we're at tabletop troops on Twitter, I think. Anyways, so we have our rankings here. So let's kind of start. We'll go down by like the SF, SAD, S, whatever. How do you mean alphabetical, like by classes?
I thought you were gonna go for sure.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm the host.
There is a Artificer.
There's no
So I
artificer.
think
Correct.
Could be.
However,
I actually think they probably would.
How-
Creatures.
however, I feel there are a multitude of subclasses in this
Missing,
game. Like
yeah.
missing.
No,
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of them in here. Like for being like a game that I mean takes up the majority of the storage on your devices, but for being a game, like there's a lot of potential. Like I think they said something like 48 subclasses
Yeah, well, I
in the
think there's
game,
3.
and then
And the ones that didn't have,
wizard
yeah,
and cleric both have 6, 8 maybe for
but
6 or 8 schools of
Sorcerer-
magic.
so I think that's cool. Like our classes that
Fighters
so
actually miss. Our rankings.
you got the base.
I like 30 of them. Like, fact now that Hexblade isn't.
One thing, but I think
I ultra faster than.
I found the really nice. 15. A lot of cases. Like call it the beginning of act. Is the game
I feel like this warlock spell, like unique spell selection, really wants you to be melee, especially in 5e. Hex or Hellish Rebuke works from range in Baldur's Gate, but Armor of Agathis doesn't. It's only on melee attacks. And then like I mean, whatever it is, like Arms of Hadar, like that's another like you got to be like in melee to use it. I feel like
True.
as warlock it kind of as the spells they kind of want you to be
Well,
in melee, but there's options for other stuff.
Hard to be. That's where Paladin levels in the start Paladin. Like you get a couple low level spell slots. First level spell slot.
realized basically I think we should
So I mean, what we have at S tier is cleric, paladin, and rogue. I mean, I feel like if we go one by one, we'll
Yeah,
never
are we
get through
fine?
it.
What are we fine with? Yeah.
and
Cleric is dead. Play without a cleric.
cleric there.
guidance. I
That's a class. I don't know. Okay.
think guidance is trying to accidentally check that you.
I don't.
No, it doesn't. Not that alone. Access to all the great. I had no.
On
Fight that you don't want to.
I think there's basically there's different play styles definitely for cleric, like
Yeah,
from the trickster to the war cleric to the life domain, like all of those are completely different.
Light too. Light your blaster.
Exactly. Light I feel like is the most like caster of all of them, whereas like life is really like support, where it's like healing and like tanking, and then war it's like you're attacking, and then trickster I feel like is more of like the roguey type
yeah.
subclass, where it's like, or like the bardy type, where it's like it's
I actually.
yeah, for sure. I feel like I feel like they can be both. Like like you can produce advantage with your duplicate, and like there's it's true, but like it's a hit that someone else didn't take, right? And then like
Okay.
and with this like wisdom, yes you need, but it's like with you can kind of like con, you can take a bit of, and then you can like really pump dex and go like medium armor and have like decent like range attacks and have and be good that way. Like I find my trickster like is like being extremely good at range attacks right now, just like with some basic items
As time
equipped.
goes on,
I don't think always will.
I mean, as a cleric, I feel like you always want to be the attacking cleric rather than the cantripping cleric, because Sacred
But
Flame.
You're gonna be fighting between. As spell.
Sure, yeah, you can
I
do
don't
all
think
that.
that's the right choice.
If you're having
Like how when I have to hit.
so
Yes, and big healing. And
those times you have, but you're not gonna have to. Like something like an Eldritch Blast with.
It might be.
Not having your mom.
I also. So if you want.
That's at max. Probably only.
Take it early, then you lose. It's I don't know. I think
I would, yeah. I still like Assassin and Rogue. Very good. Having a but hide so I
It
might
is
as well.
true.
Most of the time, hiding is better than aiming.
Anyway, I like that.
I take one level.
I just
Very
character damage. I think
lot
are the
of
best,
watch.
but don't need.
You
And
don't have. But it is nice that you know that
most trap.
I still
I think a little bit more. I do.
if you want them to be
If you are doing
but if you extra but you definitely
okay, if it does, then that I think they
Paladin. I feel like my only problem with our S tier as it stands is that there's a few classes missing. I would keep Rogue and Cleric and Paladin all S tier because I feel like Rogue, like the stealth sleight of hand opens up some possibilities that like you of like defeating combats and situations and doing some crazy things that you don't really have the option to otherwise. I guess there's always invisible, but I think like they'll like pickpocketing and slipping things into people's things and stuff like that. I feel like, I mean, true, but like
They do
their
get
thing,
by if he
their
tries to.
true,
Some-
but there it's also something that you don't want to fail. Like you won't.
Disarm check.
But what do you guys? Who do you guys think are missing from the S tier here? I mean, yeah, we can. So yeah, I think some are missing, which is my only problem with our S tier. In A, there's a Bard, Sorcerer, and then way far on the right there we get Wizard. Still an A tier. Still an A tier though.
Out of all
A
the
tier in
classes
5e.
I've played, are the
You've never played Wizard in 5e? Oh. Yeah, well, you can't say you can't be on our A tier 5e tier list.
I thought you meant.
I mean, sure, that's what we're talking about, but he is in our A tier. What I'm saying.
Supposed to be.
But you have never played one, so you don't have
Yes,
much.
I have played one.
I mean,
played a high level
yeah.
one.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
Hey,
Eat
let's just keep
scape.
going, dude. Like, let's have my opinion, Wizard.
There's your other two.
I think
So
I think there's really decent.
I feel like
They
you say
bring
every
things-
class in this. I think party and you're. I want a spellcaster. My they are the dead last.
The one biggest thing, or good. I want you. How big of a oh, and mind numbing, and they get first one. The other one is
That alone. When you get
No,
into
no,
combat
no.
when there's. Like, I would.
right. That's
If it's like yeah, you could tell it not to ask you. If it were, I guess if it's like a stupid one, like a mid to nothing, like a 12, be like, yeah, just use it whenever, right? And then like keep to ask for your lower high one.
But I agree. That said,
So you have. Like being able
I'm
to
talking like
double.
I actually think
Yeah, if
it
you're
does.
never long resting.
True.
Itself,
Fucking it.
probably going.
Because, right.
But if
I
your
think
first spell cast, probably not. I think the game wants you to
But anyway, I think that not just I copy.
Costs you one, doesn't it?
Quicken, yes. Up in a new.
I feel like you need oh no. It doesn't work with Elder Blast. Multiple times.
Work with.
Quicken, not twin. Right.
Twin doesn't.
Twin works with like Firebolt or like Ray of Frost or
Also, I do. I think so.
But
Right.
it,
Remember
now you're one play.
saying that they're B tier. I told you, not dying. Bird, the other B. I think they're. Here's what I.
They're
They're
great fate. Having a fate actually
think that. I think. I think
Bard
Bird's
and
a-
Claire. Crappy.
I feel like with a party of bards, you would get bogged down by all of the inspiration things checking up, being
You-
like,
you
"Oh,
would-
do you want to?" Like everybody literally would
succeed.
have an
Bogged down by
inspiration.
success.
Oh,
That's
why
what
too
you-
much
that's your-
success?
Inspiration is powerful, but I feel like you don't need more than a bard in your party
I think
in this game because there's not the other bard subclasses that use their inspiration. It does, but it only adds 2 extra things. Like it's still a bardic inspiration, and you can do these 2 little things extra. Whereas, like with the eloquence, you can cut saves. With I guess with the you have cutting words,
Assuming
but
you're gonna have, like,
and the whispers has the little smite thing. Like that's where I see the inspiration being different, rather than like, oh, I have an inspiration, but this inspiration can do 2 more things. Like that's not.
It's hard to
They
I
can't.
think
move.
they're-
They can't. They
They
can't.
wanna-
They
well,
can't.
no,
They
they
can't
use-
use it on
They
themselves.
use it
when they attack.
Not the
I-
valor.
That's
Oh,
flourishes work.
the sword.
Sword.
I get the 2 names always mixed up.
No, they're
because basically the same.
Dude, does the swords use their inspiration to do
Yeah, yeah,
things?
It's
Yeah,
powerful.
it's a
one of their
mechanic.
the one that attacks. It doesn't cost you inspirations. I think that's whoa, super
I-
powerful. Yeah, it's like mind-numbing. I think the other two get the push. It's fun.
Well,
I think that
I'd say Bard is definitely S.
Bard is always
Yeah, I would have had Bard in 5e as S tier
I
as
just-
well, but
just
Sorcerer.
they-
I mean, the inspiration is the thing that they do
Bless-
better than
Bless
it.
is-
It's
I
better.
think
It's no,
in this game,
Pact
it's
is
good.
better in a
No,
long
it's
fight.
not. No, it's not.
In a long fight, it's better.
Sure, yeah,
'Cause
but are
get
you
to
gonna?
every
Yeah,
party based?
I don't think you're doing like crazy. You're not doing crazy amounts of saves though. Like you made that point earlier.
Yes.
That point earlier.
But, you're doing
Sure, yeah.
you don't pass concentration.
but like
Contact vision
it
in-
has give your bardic inspiration attacks, and I bless them for that bless on.
right about that.
True, but
I know first all this.
Either way, I think
it's
these two
different.
classes are very nice to each other. I think so. I do think 3 or 4 really powerful choices. But I think that our choices actually want to give the greater variance possible. It is.
Hard anyway.
And
I
also,
think
I think both are powerful. Better, but I think that he's your or a bard. They call the spell. The birds. One of my problems. For support. I think Art Claire. Real.
I would say Sorcerer's still an A, although I feel like it's a pretty faithful representation of what's in D&D from what's in Baldur's Gate,
Probably
like
true.
pretty 1-to-1. But I would say they're still A, but I would give them a little, like, just a -1 to their health points because there's no Divine Soul.
yes, that's
Mhm.
divine
If
soul.
they had
Is
Divine
Divine-
Soul, that would be your.
that's probably the
The
think
wizard,
that,
it's pretty fun. It's pretty funny for like a joke
but
playthrough.
I don't.
Like,
There's. I
crazy
don't
stuff
think. I
happening all
looked
the
at this.
time.
Winning. But either way, the point is this game not see. Have that. Anyway, I think atrociously.
So-
I think
Wizards,
Clearly.
I feel like, well, there's not a huge difference of what's like what the class actually does. Like they didn't get like any like a lot of classes like they gave like a little bump
Well-
in something too, but Wizard didn't get any of that.
Wizard. Then
True.
you like
Magic Missile is really good too. Not that
I think
other
Magic
classes can't do
Missiles-
it, but I feel like Wizard as a whole goes down for one big reason, and that's because exploration is not that there's none, but like there's not as much like need for a wizard in exploration. Like things just like, oh, you get 4 checks at that intelligence check, one of them will probably get it, or
Yeah.
like a knock
think-
spell, like sure, but like you got a rogue for that. But like I feel like that's where like wizards can have all those exploration spells, but in Baldur's Gate I feel like there's not as much use
I
for
agree
any
with
of them. So let's move on to our B tier, I
I
guess.
think
This is where Druid and Warlock are. Warlock got pretty boned in our
So-
5e ratings.
I'm-
Druid did pretty good though, surprisingly.
I like Drew. Die on that hill. I would say the thing that I don't haven't tried.
so.
I've only tried, and it allows you to.
I-
Some of the
I feel like
so
as a druid, if your purpose is to do anything other than turn into an animal, you're gonna be sorely disappointed in
I
your
think that's
abilities to do
fight
so.
growth?
Yeah,
Here's the,
yeah.
I see it. For class. Anyway. Pardon the dream. Pardon the click. Hey, way leaps. The dream.
And they work well combos. And
Uh,
ops.
Spells that they
Other guidance.
I think they're how powerful. But you're right, they're
Or druid.
great. Because it all
Does the moon druid barbarian work Baldur's Gate? Can you reckless
That's what
attack on
I
your
think-
biting
no,
claws?
No,
you
you
can't.
That's what.
You get your
That's
rage
2 bonus
damage.
actions. I have read that multi. Maybe the damage reduction.
I figure it would.
But if it's 2 bonus
but-
action,
Yeah, especially.
I think that's-
I feel like
don't think
yeah, no rage damage either. That kind of makes it less. Well, probably. It's still
it works for
usable.
me. I gotta try.
Or
the unarmored
maybe
defense.
the 3 to get the totem bear. So
I was reading.
I mean, for this, I feel like it might.
I was reading. Your own
But how?
calculate if
one
you have.
claw, 2. Depending on the.
You can do. Now they're definitely not.
I'd keep them where they are, probably right in B. But the other one, Warlock, definitely S tier, big time. For sure, Warlock is huge. In
minimum.
this.
They are.
And I
very good.
play the pact of the.
Yeah.
Hard,
But
powerful
literally every classes that is a charisma class has a Warlock subclass build thing on any site you go. Like they're all like padlock, bardlock, swordlock, like everything. Anything that has charisma is definitely going with Warlock, where it's not the other way. Like if you're a sorcerer, like a sword.
Paladin sword.
Yeah, but I feel like the fact that again, like short rests are so free, I feel like
Right.
makes it so that the padlock is far superior to the swordlock in Baldur's Gate.
Pact of the Blade.
Super
Probably.
strong. I think the block spell. Ball.
All of them get it.
It was just.
Don't get
I think
them.
Their unique spells are what honestly their spell choice is the best on, and then basically I feel like they get pretty well everything you'd want as like a sort of a sorcerer type of build. Should be able to.
Yeah, the Warlock. They're one of the instant classes that. Power.
What else?
All the.
Vixen. out the fix. Oh,
Easy.
I think so. Right now, is better. I'll just play. In a lot of cases, which is the way it should feel. So I think that they're actually like way incredibly strong, way incredibly good, and I think that they're right up there with probably S tier as one of the two best classes in the game.
It's Baldur's Gate has made me think like if I was ever to run 5th edition again, which who knows, Pathfinder's just so much better. I don't know if I'd ever run 5e again, but I think I would adopt the you get 2 free short rests.
I like it. I think it's
And
great.
the only stipulation is like he can't be in combat.
Yeah.
like
I love it. I think it's a great solution. It's a great idea. I think all this,
and we
DM
we
needs to-
shifted it to 10 minutes
Yeah.
because we thought an hour was stupid.
and that's still not quite. I mean, I still think just doing it is better. I actually hate like DM rolls where they're rolling for a monster because you're resting and all that type of stuff that happens because some cases it's an okay encounter. In other cases, you're catching a party with their pants down, and it's just bad time for everyone.
You're right. Only the fiend gets fireball, and
Inspiration.
sorry everybody, the audio was completely scuffed for the first
Oh no.
all of the podcast. You couldn't hear Kyle or Jordan for the majority of it.
No,
Just
that's
it cutting in and out. So
Is it working now?
it is, yeah.
Okay. Quick recap. We were pretty well bang on about everything, but Wizard sucks and
Wizard does
Bard's
suck
a little
now.
better. That's
Yeah.
basically.
I think there's 2 S tier classes in this game, and
And
I think
Warlock's a lot better too.
Warlock's one of them.
Yeah. Oh, they missed that too. Okay.
Yeah, everything up until literally this exact
Okay,
moment.
so- Sorry.
Tell them that Rogue is definitely down a couple pegs too.
That's coming from you.
That's-
I
yeah, that's
don't
Jordan-
think
that's
me
Jordan.
and Ethan agree with that.
Everyone should agree with that.
That's that would be
That's
okay.
Jordan. Sneak attack's too free. They do.
It is free.
They
It does
do.
feel free
They
in this
do
game.
take it away from you in some weird scenarios. Like
There are some weird
basically,
scenarios
if
that-
there's like a tack onto the attack that you're doing, or if it's some sort of like, if it's not your like turn attack, but at the same time, it does add your sneak attack on some of those like the hamstring one. Like I find sneak attack sometimes goes on that. Like even
just-
if you like even like
thought
you
you
don't
had
click
to
the sneak attack
Click
one,
sneak attack.
but you hamstring them, and if you qualify for sneak attack, I'm pretty sure at least for something
So I
happened
I
where
wish
I'd
I
rolled
wish it
2
would
dice.
just always give it to me, or do like what the Paladin does,
Yeah, ask.
where you hit it and it's like, do you want to?
Maybe it might be a setting you could do. I'm not sure.
Was
I haven't
it-
checked
I'm gonna have to double check because if
Yeah,
that
it might- it might.
One thing I noticed,
because it's annoying because I go
About
shoot a
Rogue.
magical arrow out of my bag and I can't put sneak attack on it.
here's the thing that should be noted for Rogue in Act 3. I think it's the only time that it happens. You start fighting enemies that have, if you're
Blurry,
playing
yeah.
Tactician, they have, basically blur. It's like Tactician difficulty, you get disadvantage on this
Yeah.
attack, which means that Rogue has a hard time getting sneak attack on those monsters a lot of times. Unless they already have built-in advantage and a buddy to hang out,
Yeah.
which just makes them neutral.
But
But I mean,
Warlock, I think you could put Warlock in S tier.
I think so.
If you play a Warlock, you're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
The only weird thing is, I don't think I would play a Warlock because of how much I like Will. But if
I
I
know,
was
that
to
was a
play a
problem I
Warlock,
had.
I would multi-class. But that's just my personal thing because I Will's like probably my favorite character in the game.
It is frustrating. I liked Will too, but I made Warlock. I went into this game completely sight unseen. I didn't play all the whatever it's called, the
Early
access. Didn't do all that stuff. I picked Warlock. Went in. Will showed up. Said, "Hey, I'm a Warlock." I'm like, that's too fucking bad. But the point is,
That's
he
too bad, buddy.
he got backseated because he's a Warlock, which is sad. But anyway, I think he is a
You can
super good
rebuild
character.
people.
I know,
with
but
other
my
things
first
too,
playthrough,
so.
I like to play them as they are. It's kind of like a
Well,
like a
it's
thing.
funny. I don't use Gale because he's a wizard and I hate wizards. But I would feel dirty re-rolling him into a sorcerer.
exactly. I feel that way too. I like to pick people when I re-roll my people. I like to re-roll them as things that make kind of sense.
Yeah.
So like,
Shadowheart is a paladin. I could even see
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
You
she's
know.
basically
I
always just,
rolled Shadowheart as a paladin, and I was thinking I want to do a Githyanki run and like be good friends with Lizelle, but I want to be a fighter battle master. So I'm thinking
I
Lizelle
made her a ranger.
would be a good ranger. Yeah.
she could be a monk too. There's a lot of Gith monks in this
Gith
game.
and Zerai are usually the monks.
It's racist.
I mean, I don't see a problem with her being a monk.
Let's go down to
Those were the only two.
yeah, they
Bs?
were only two Bs. Let's go
Yeah.
down to C tier, which is where we have fighter in fifth edition.
Fighter? Did you say fighter?
Yeah,
Did you say worst case S tier, best case S tier? Well, then you got fighter. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the
That makes
best
it devil's
class-
advocate. They're only A tier. I don't even know if I believe it, but the fact that like you can multi-class as long as you're not playing on, is it just easy you can't multi-class on?
I think the middle one you can't either.
You can't on the middle.
I
either?
don't know. I didn't play. The
Well,
middle
as long
one.
as you're playing on, well, that makes you play on hard mode. But okay,
Yeah,
if you're playing on
exactly.
tactician, and I know for sure you can multi-class. Fighters being though getting access to their 3 attacks at level 11, you can actually get 3 attacks way quicker on a couple different combinations. The barbarian that gets berserker, he's gonna get 3 attacks before
Yeah.
the fighter does, and the multi-class paladin warlock also gets it.
I think that they're like their AC, their battle master dice, their
Well,
action.
Their
surge.
AC, like, throw that out the window. Anything that wears heavy armor is going to have the same equipment. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of
so,
true.
like, you throw that out the
But
window.
it's still their
So
AC
you're talking
on.
about their core features.
But the AC of heavy armor is inherently more than basically what you can get in medium armor or unarmed defense, for the most part. Almost.
I
through
don't
the
know
entire
about
game.
unarmed defense because I've seen ways to fix your stats.
You can.
So you
but
should be able
the
to get to
majority
20
of the
cons and
game-
18.
The majority of the
dex.
game, you're gonna be better.
And then those bracers are unarmored defense. But anyway,
But yeah.
so I would you can't throw equipment out the window. Just know that you're going to have your pick of equipment.
battle master dice are.
So you're comparing
stupid.
Battlemaster dice to smites. And as long as you multi-class into Warlock, you're going to get Warlock slots back on
I
a short
know.
rest. So for raw damage, you're getting more out of your
I
smites
know,
than
but
you
if,
do the
let's if we're
Battlemaster
going
dice.
multi-class, if we talk about as a class, is better. Battle master dice are more flexible, more
They are,
useful.
but I
come
always
back, you
use the
can-
menacing one. I almost never use something that's not menacing.
Is that the one that
That's the one that potentially puts fear if they fail to save.
Yeah,
and
I
I
like-
get 1 dice of damage.
I
on it.
like? The fear one. I like the prone one's really good.
that
like,
one. I never. Oh yeah, it's not sweep. Is it
Trip-
not sweep and trip?
You know, push one's okay.
Sweep, I miss sweep every once in a while. It just doesn't give me the guy that it's on. And disarming, I don't know if I've hit a disarm in
It's
my
possible.
life, and I don't know if disarm gives me the damage. It seems like it doesn't.
You have to
Menacing
read
for
them.
sure gives
Some
me
of
the
them
damage.
don't. Some of them don't. But most
Commander
of them
strike doesn't.
That's
Commander, I
not-
lose
that's one of the bad
an
ones.
attack one.
do you not give it to them on their attack to die of damage?
Commander.
do. No,
Yeah.
I think it's just wasted, which I think is like.
I
I think
think
that
really
I think that
bad.
might be the one tweak from D&D
Okay.
because it's the same in D. You
Yeah.
forgo one of your attacks to give someone else one,
It should.
but you let them add a D8. You let them
Yeah.
add your
'Cause
your
it eats
die,
their
whatever.
reaction.
I
it
think
is, like
battle
that.
master dice are just the most powerful thing. Like they
They're,
good.
they're definitely
And they're
good.
short.
I don't.
flexible.
Short rest abilities too.
Short rest
Like,
abilities.
I feel like that's where the
You
fighter's
drain
power
4 of those
is.
big attacks that do really good things in a battle.
But
Or
the
8 of them,
one single attack is not as strong as a paladin single attack.
if you're talking
this-
about smite, you're right.
Yeah.
But that's only if you're talking about raw damage. If you can make the argument that smites don't do much other than raw damage, and this and
But
they're
then you get the other stuff the paladin gets, which is good.
good. I know. I agree with that.
Their
but
channel
How
dip,
does
their new
how do
channels.
like the numbers scale for how you get 4 right off the
Right
bat?
off the bat, that's
for,
insane.
for fighter,
that's way better than any other class.
and then
gets
you
right
get
off the
2
bat.
more at like 6 or 7, 8. I think it's
Seven?
6. It's 6 or 7 because that's when you
6
get
is your
your.
ASI.
That's when you get your. It must be
All I know
7.
is
You
I
get
think
your
get up to
fighter
like 80,
subclass
is
thing.
it like 8 or so? Is it that? many?
So
I'm level 8 on mine, and I'm unkillable. But I still think the paladin warlock is just
That's-
more better
that's
raw damage.
6d8
I like that they do
versus
party.
the paladin at level 6, 7 would have what they got second level
Then it's second
they'd
at
have four,
5.
4 and 3. So that's a lot more right there. Definitely, it's 8 just for your four first level ones.
Yeah.
But that's a long rest too, though. Actually, so it's
Yeah.
6 versus what? 16. 6 a short rest versus 16d8 a long rest.
You remember they're
So
good.
it's
at using,
it'd be pretty.
They're good at using them too, right?
So it'd be
'Cause-
like 12. No, 3 long rests per 3 short rests per long rest.
But yeah,
Or you have the first one, you short rest, second short rest, then you get 6 more again, right?
there is a chance that your battle master dice whiffs too. You can't whiff on smites.
True.
It is true.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is true.
Yeah,
have to
you
declare
smite
it-
after you hit.
declare it first. Yeah,
I choose menacing attack and miss.
but I mean, I still think that they're really powerful.
I like
Actually,
goading too is a good or not goading, but
that's,
Repose is
fainting to get your advantage. You don't get your
yeah, that's pretty
damage.
good too.
Or-
yeah,
Yeah, you do get the damage.
yeah, you get the
repose
damage.
is money, but like
It is, but that
eats
that
them
reaction at
quick,
the same
but-
time, it's like
It is
Kinda-
hard,
you
but
but
kinda
like when
want
you
that.
score a crit smiting, it's like
it is
it's
true.
so much damage.
I think Paladin's really strong. I think just as a consistent, as a valuable class, the fighting styles that they get.
Paladins do fighting styles.
You're
too.
right, they do, don't they? They
Um,
get dueling instead of the two
yeah.
in one.
Honestly, just action surge
Actually,
as a
it's
short
still-
So,
rest
here,
thing.
we're-
It's
you
huge.
compare action surge. But we
Yeah,
get
compared to Smite because we already compared Smite to Battle
no,
Master.
we're doing that.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
that,
yeah,
yeah,
I
if
could
you're
just
doing
say-
that, then
We're
you
looking
got to
at-
put Battle Master dice with Smite versus your spell slots.
I'm going to a different thing. If I just get ready to start.
Just saying, just
You
saying.
got your channel divinities, which you get back on your short rest, which
Some
are
of them
all.
are-
Some of them give you raw damage.
they're
Some give you
okay.
advantage on an enemy.
I've been underwhelmed by most of them.
Divine Sense is a very powerful ability. It doesn't work on every monster, but you'll get into a big area and it was like works on everything in here. Like undead, you fight a lot of undeads. Like
do,
that
yeah.
that's pretty strong, getting advantage on everything. And you do have actual spells
They're-
that you could cast.
Most of them
So-
are just super underwhelming, especially considering you could do something else with the spell slots.
Well, it's because you can smite and make
It is a
them
little
look
bit,
more
but I mean, they
underwhelming.
got mediocre
But-
spells too, though. So
It's and then you got to look when you as you level up. The other things the fighter get, I find, are less powerful compared to what the paladin gets through level up.
yeah, Paladin does get
Like
some powerful
war
stuff.
protection is very strong, and it actually will let you potentially make a concentration save.
It helps in the case, yeah.
And it covers up one of your few weaknesses and saves. The only thing is, I find, besides wisdom saves, which I find I get hit with wisdom saves. If I'm fighting an enemy spellcaster, he's casting whole person on me. It seems like quite often, and
Sure,
losing your
sometimes.
turn sucks.
Yeah, well, it's even worse when
So-
you're paralyzed and take those crits.
And you
I mean,
take those
it's
So
just
you
dead.
get Aura of Protection and improved Divine Smite. That's the extra D8 on every attack.
Yeah,
And
but the fighter's getting 3 attacks when I get
the-
divine.
The fighter's getting 3 attacks and 2 extra ASIs.
I think it's important to note kind of what weapons are like
he only
in this
gets.
game,
I
too.
think he only gets 1 in this. One
it's
extra
6
ASI.
and 10, or I don't know. Maybe Baldur's Gate changed, but in D&D he gets it.
Yeah,
at 6 and 10.
I thought when I looked at the layout, I thought they didn't give them their 10.
But extra attacks
When I
are
looked at
powerful in this
the
game.
wiki one.
Extra
You're
attack is
adding,
big.
you're adding an extra D4 to D6.
But you can get that if you want that third extra
I
attack
know, but now
by
you're-
multi-classing into Warlock.
I know, but we're multi-classing now. I'm talking...
And you don't get your improved Divine Smite.
But you get a third
Oh, but-
attack, more spell slots, and you're getting stuff back on a short rest.
I know, but
Just
I'm
as a
making...
better class to build. And you get to attack with charisma, and you only need 1 stat.
I think the good thing about Fighter 2 is that, like, it's the other end. Like, instead of having that one class it can go to for a good, like, bump, it's, like, works with a lot. Like, almost any class. Like,
yeah, well, most classes...
like a fighter mix, like, works
There's a
really
lot of
well.
classes
Two
I don't
levels
wanna do it.
fighter can go with almost anything.
Yeah,
and
right.
it improves you.
But-
Like rogue, barbarian, they just want to be a couple levels per fighter. Just great.
But the thing too, I think you're pigeonholed into being a battle master.
No, I think champion's okay.
I-
I don't think it's like.
I think if you're full fighter, I don't think there's any. I don't think you can't go battle master as your main character because it's like, it's like literally all you do is go out, like run up and
it would
attack.
be kind of boring. But I mean, I think that the other two are not as bad as we think they are, but I do think Battlemaster.
Yeah, Battlemaster can be like extremely good just like as a support character. Like
I do think that does bring up a point that I do think that, and it might just be because Battlemaster's so
But-
strong, it does kind of make it a one subclass class, which is a weakness. But I think that
Yeah, they don't give them their level 10 ASI.
I do think they're still super strong. So
They give them a subclass feature.
so I would pick. I would.
See, there's no ASI there.
I don't think they get that in D&D.
I know the fighter gets 2 extra ASI and the rogue gets 1 extra
They-
ASI
Maybe
in comparison to everything else.
they must get more, just more, because that's all. I think that's all they get with their more subclass features. The Battlemaster at least is just more maneuvers
Yeah.
and more dice.
Yeah.
So
So
they might get up
The
to
champion,
they might get up to
that
8.
athlete thing, the champion gets actually not bad in this. Gives you more jump and then
Right.
lets you add your basically jack of all trades to any dex or strength skill, which counts initiative.
It's kind of cool.
The funny
Um,
thing is, I actually think the fighter is the best archer in the game
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
are probably true.
because all those Battlemaster dice work on your
Yeah,
archer,
that's true.
and there's enough equipment that gives you hunter's mark. I found multiple pieces of that. Why
I
I would never
think
play like
whether
Ranger pretty
we're-
bad.
Whether we're arguing
But-
that Paladin is better or not, I think Fighter is, but I think they're both S tier. I think there's no question that they're both S tier. And if we're we're ranking more, but which tier they should be, I think they both deserve to be an S tier, and that's a better argument than arguing which one's better.
I think besides archery, so I don't think the ranger can compete with the fighter at archery.
I think the Fighter's better.
The fighter is better than ranger at archery.
I mean, like, the Fighter's better at almost everyone at everything.
No, that's what I'm getting at. I think you can make a barbarian if you just want raw survivability tank and say I'm not reckless attacking, and you're going to put a shield on your barbarian.
Well,
You can build your barbarian to be more tanky.
I think
Than
you're
the fighter.
mistaken. If you want to have the best survivability tank, give that Barbarian a two-handed weapon and watch his HP never go down anyway, because Rage is strong in this game.
It is, but I
mean, if you're
probably
going
still
real,
would say-
if we're being serious, then yeah, the Barbarian's unkillable.
Then if you want to go raw melee damage, you can build a paladin warlock multi-class and get just as many attacks and have harder hitting smites.
I feel like late game. I don't know because I haven't played past
But
Act
I haven't
1.
played past 8. level
But
8.
I feel like late game AC will be a huge tank ability thing.
It
Like
is. You need to get high AC, but it's
Yeah.
a big deal once you get there.
But I know Kenny said he found a +3 shield. Well, Your
Yep.
barbarian can wear a shield. Your barbarian can wear medium armor and still get all his stuff.
Yep.
So if you're willing to take that medium armor master feat, your half plate can get to 18. I just don't know what there is for magical items. But like I feel like maybe you give up 1 AC compared to the heavy armor wearers,
So-
but you get half damage and a bigger hit
So
pool.
here's the Barbarian. As far as I'm concerned, you can fairly easily get to 18 AC in unarmored in this game.
With those gloves, I found
Yeah,
those gloves that
those
give you
gloves
18
are
dex.
Pretty sick. Oh, I thought those gloves that get you 18 dex. The
You
bracers
should be
that
able
give
to
you
get your
2
con to
AC.
20. So that should
Yeah.
be 19, and those bracer defense is 21.
Yeah,
and-
I found 18
but
was
you can't wear a shield. I
18 was
assume.
the number that I got to fairly easily. And you can use those bracers that give you the dex, so that gets you up there too. So if you used a shield and a +2 shield, you should be up like 21 or so. Yeah,
I
fairly
don't
easily.
know if you could use the gloves and the bracers.
No, no, you
they might
can't.
both
You
be
can't.
your gloves.
But the gloves
I
and the
would go
bracers get the
gloves
same
over the
bonus.
bracers,
I would
and
too.
I would take. I would make probably the adamantium scale, so they wouldn't
Are we
get
on
crit.
Barbarian? No,
But
not yet.
I'm just saying. I'm just making an argument that you can whatever you want your fighter to do, you could build something that's better at it. If you're just trying to make it do one thing, you can build a better melee fighter by multi-classing paladin, warlock,
I'm not sure he's
and you
better.
can build a stronger tank by being a barbarian wearing a shield. It's just you got to give up. You're going to have to go into the mindset of this is specifically what I want it to do.
Yeah.
Because if you're a strength fighter, you're throwing for range, so you're no different than the barbarian. And you can go berserker if you don't want the resistance to elemental damage and get an extra attack, so you even keep your third attack pace.
Yeah,
just-
that was some mention I was going to make when we get there, but we're not there yet. But we might be.
But yeah,
now.
I still think fighter's really, really good. Don't get me wrong.
actually
but I would put them A tier.
Honest truth,
I would have them completely tied with Paladin. Like
I
I
think-
honestly, I think the comparison is extremely equal, especially when considering 5e. They're so like night and day. But in 5e,
There's a huge discrepancy in tabletop.
Yeah,
for
Fighter
sure.
is significantly
I
worse.
think that in my first playthrough, when I first played the game, I thought fighter was by far the best class in the game by a mile. I've soured on them a little bit. I still think they're the best class in the game, very likely, but by less of a margin than they were in the beginning.
I
And
would
think Paladin's
have
really
I
strong.
would have them and Cleric tied for the best solo, like no multi-class, like singular
Yeah.
build all the way up through. Just because Cleric gets like
If
you're
is,
not
I
gonna
feel like
multi-class-
spells are end loaded for Cleric. Like there's a lot of crazy stuff back
If you're
there.
not going to multi-class and like build your character that way, fighter is very strong 1 to 12.
Yeah. Well, there, I
But
think
cleric, I would never leave the camp without a cleric.
one of my
So-
best arguments for why fighter is the best class in the game is because there's no level range that they're not excellent in. They literally keep pace the entire game and are
There,
probably, if not the best class, the next best class, literally the entire game.
I find
And
you
no
get,
other class does that. A lot of the other ones
you
take a
get to
dip
level
somewhere.
3 super
That's
fast,
true.
and you're level 5 fairly quick,
Yeah.
and then the paladin comes online at 6 is when he starts to feel like a god.
Yeah, I played Paladin or had a Paladin in my party for most of the game, and they
And
never.
he's broken an oath for a paladin too.
Yeah. And I never like all the other martial classes, except for the fact that they get those meaty big smites. All the other martial classes felt special, something special about them, and the Paladin felt not as special. I mean, they're
But they
are
lay on
because
hands.
they've got the stuff that you don't see that makes them super powerful.
They help your party
They do.
and have charisma skills that they're good at.
I'm just saying that as a melee specialist, they felt less special. But as a character moving forward, like lay on hands is stupid. Like as a package, they're still it's hard to argue that the bonus to your saves, you don't ever see them
You don't
because
see
they're
the
just
roll.
rolled in
Yeah.
the background. But the fact is, they're there and they're stupidly strong.
I find it's strange how similar Paladin and Cleric look in this. Like like when you're looking at just straight up their abilities. Like I changed
Yeah.
Shadowheart
That's
to
true.
a
Yeah.
Paladin, and sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, like she's not a Cleric. Like
Right.
I gotta play this differently. I'm the Cleric, but I'm a melee Cleric, so sometimes I feel like
a paladin.
I'm the Paladin. She's the
Do
Cleric.
you think a paladin could fill your healer's
No,
role?
absolutely not. They don't heal enough.
Maybe the Ancients one.
Yeah, their
Yeah.
channel divinity heals everybody.
No, but you do get two of them, don't you?
You just short rest.
And if you use your aura that like resists like it's spell damage,
That's
is it?
it.
Yeah,
Ancient
but that
ones
aura.
You use that as like a protection thing to be like, oh, I'm gonna go run like
You
up
can
next
throw
to my
potions
rogue.
in this game.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they can be the soul healer. I think that those two big heal spells, the ones that do group healing, are pivotal to the game. And
Lay on hands is crazy good
Yeah,
though.
it's very good.
You could.
I know
it's
I'm
the
not
it-
arguing that it's good.
it's
I'm
the
just
biggest
saying
heal you can possibly
it
have
just
in the
puts
game
out
for sure.
to one guy, and I think one guy's not the issue. The issue
That's
is
true.
the whole party. And
Mass-
so that's why you need those big group heals.
Mass Cure Wounds is probably unbeatable.
No.
That comes to healing.
I think both together, Mass Cure Wounds and Mass Healing Word on the same turn, is where it's at. So like you need to have both those
Gordon's
spells.
just draining his cleric of all of his
Oh
juice.
yeah, I told you
just
that
like,
cleric just sits
come
on
on,
spell slot.
cleric.
That's what they're there
"Come
for.
on, give me that cleric juice.
Jeez.
All right, let's move on to D tier.
Let's move on to Barbarian. The
That's
important.
where Artificer is. There's no Artificer in
F tier.
Baldur's Gate, though, unfortunately.
That's okay. I didn't
But
like
here
the
we have
Focus anyway.
Ranger and Barbarian.
So we should start with Ranger because I got a lot more to say about Barbarian than Ranger. Even though I got lots to say about Ranger. I think Ranger is actually not bad. I agree. There are classes better than Ranger, like Fighter, maybe. But I think that Ranger's good. I think that D8 that they get on their the Hunter Barbarian that gets the choice of 3 abilities, gets Colossal, that does 1 more D8 a turn to a damaged creature, is good. It's just really good. It doesn't seem like it should be mathematically, maybe it doesn't feel like it should be, but the fact is, it just is just always there, and it's free, and it feels good. You stack that with the Hunter's Mark. Now you're getting a D8 and a D6, plus it hits all your attacks. I think it's really good. I think this specific subclass is actually fairly strong. I think it'll be strong the whole game. Maybe not as strong as Fighter, but it's pretty strong. I think the Beastmaster is also strong at level 5, because I think the first step is not strong. They did something and they didn't give the creatures enough HP. After that, they're affected with their multi-attacks by your Hunter's Mark.
Yeah.
And that is like, we can get some crazy stuff going
The
on
two
there.
things I noticed at low levels with the Beastmaster when I watched us with Nicole's playing in our
Yeah.
team playthrough, but she's only level maybe 4, I think, in that. The Beast is like when you're just walking around, gets lost.
Yeah, that's
Won't
a
climb
problem
this thing.
too.
I find that aggravating for a playthrough,
It is terrible.
and I find that it
I'm already mad at
dies
Asterion for
super
running away.
easy. But
The HP is terrible. I think at level 3, the highest HP creature is the bear at 19, which is not actually that bad, but they have like 16 AC. So that's your bear, your top tier, right? After that, if you want to pick the more damage-oriented
there's
ones,
a wolf.
I think the next highest HP is 11.
I think-
Or maybe it's 14. Also at 16 AC.
Boar,
Ranger.
spider.
Their HP just
They're
sucks.
I feel like they're pretty decent. The hunter ability, like the Colossus Slayer, all that stuff is good, but I feel like
Fighting style is
the
good.
the other one, what is it? The Natural Explorer? That's crazy good.
Yeah.
You can pick up basically all of your important resistances with those. You get fire,
They're pretty
poison,
cool.
and cold.
I actually like
Yeah,
that you can
which
pick
is
up
huge.
Sleight of Hand from that Natural Explorer, and the
Yeah.
other one, the Favored Enemy, that can give you heavy armor.
Yeah,
there-
the heavy
but-
armor I thought
the-
was pretty cool.
That's good, which is like something that they added for Ranger that's not in D&D.
Yeah, well, all of
like
this is
Natural
added 'cause they
Explorer kind
took
of just sucks.
They took
But-
out the Explorer stuff, threw it in the woods, and
Exactly,
then rebuilt the
One of
class.
the only ways to get dark vision is
I feel like
multiclassing them.
the
Yeah.
majority of the flavor of the class comes from your spells, being like your animal friendship, your things like
Speak with
that, like
animals.
Okay,
which is all
Animal
100% free for literally anyone in the game
Yeah.
who has access to anything. Like
I know.
you have hundreds of scrolls of animal friendship or
I agree.
potions of speak with animals or whatever
but
it is.
I think like the Ranger I built
as like
doesn't
a,
even
as a
have that
DPS
spell.
class, I
Can't
feel
get it.
like I feel like it's not horrible. There's
It's
better
good.
ones.
I
I feel like
would-
it's not.
I wouldn't put him any higher than C.
I feel I don't know. I don't think
I'd
we
have to try
put anyone in
Beastmaster.
B.
I'd have
Has
to.
anyone been in B?
I said
Druid stayed in B.
I like the
Mm.
Druid being dead at D.
I would
I
say,
said the Wizard should be B. I said that. So
right. I would say C's a good spot.
I
for
just
him.
feel like whatever
C's too
whatever
harsh.
you
They're not
think
dead,
of
they're
the
good class.
Ranger, a fighter's better and a rogue's
That's
better,
the thing is
and
that
probably a bird's better.
there's better.
yeah.
I feel like that,
no. I don't think the Bard produces the way the
that's
the
the
Ranger
exact reason he's not.
damage.
You don't want. That's the exact reason he's here on the list in 5e is because he's not a horrible class.
Yeah, he's
it's
a horrible
just
class.
there's a lot better options for
In
literally
5
anything you want to
in
do
5e
with the
you
class.
don't work very good. And
It's
you
not
don't
a
produce
horrible
the
class.
damage.
Monk is a horrible class.
Monk's a horrible
Druid
class.
is a horrible class.
Druid's
think-
not horrible.
Druid's
Druid's
You
not
guys, like
horrible. I
overly
actually-
shit on Druids.
I
for
think
no
Druid's
good
a
reason.
lot better than in tabletop than he is in this game. Actually, I think that it just suffers. There's some translation problem that didn't work out. They're the only class in the game that got hurt. That just something isn't right about them. I think that Ranger does good damage. I think that all the things about basically all the other marshals maybe doing more is maybe true.
Have
They're
you played a
flexible.
Druid where he had polymorph yet? The spell?
Polymorph sucks. Polymorph only does
Yeah.
turn into a sheep.
Yeah.
Oh,
That sucks.
I
Yeah.
haven't got polymorph
Yeah,
yet.
so just put your pants back on because I was mad about that
only
too.
sheeps.
Only sheeps.
Sheep.
Why do that?
Because coding was probably
Yeah.
a bitch.
Even if they just let you choose there's specific animals everybody wants to choose.
Yeah,
At each level.
T-Rex and ape or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they just said no. It's just a crowd control ability. It's
That really kills the spell.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
I
Yeah,
see a lot of people using it for like funny things as well. Like you turn someone into a sheep and push them off into oblivion.
yeah, it's good news
Not
strength.
bad done.
I think that I think that B tier is okay for Rangers. I think that they're effective. I think C's like telling them that they're not. I think that they're outclassed by a lot of other
C,
classes.
I would put them in C because they're outclassed by everything they do. Another class can do better.
Yeah, their big advantage is they're flexible again. And they're
The only thing
good at range and
I
they're
find
outside
that I made
But-
Lysel Ranger, but I don't use it very often because I also want to try Ranger to see, and I go back to her every couple levels just to see, hey, we got better, and she just has less hit points than my fighter,
Yeah.
and the fact she has cure wounds every once in a while, I think I might want to cure wounds somebody, and if I gotta
I'm gonna
waste
tell you,
somebody's
honestly,
actions,
I don't know that I've ever used all of the spell slots on my Ranger. The
no,
spells on the Ranger
Hunter's Mark, and then
suck.
I use cure wounds out of
I
combat
actually
to heal
find
with her.
and this is actually a bad thing for Ranger. The two hand, what's it called? Dual wielding,
The two weapon fighting.
two weapon fighter. I think if you're using it, performs better to use the second attack than to put Hunter's Mark on in most situations, because the damage that you get from that extra 5 plus the d6 of your weapon is more. So
See, Ranger,
it scales in the long run, but the point is that I actually think you're better off not using it. So in a lot of cases, you're kind of cutting that completely. I think that spell, Hunter's Mark, is more useful for ranged rangers or pet rangers who should be range rangers. And if you're one of those things, you're going to use it. If not,
does the
the-
wolf have pack tactics?
yeah, it has pack tactics.
That might
for
bait you
itself.
into wanting to be melee.
Yeah,
But I feel like Ranger is just there for dips. Like
I
if
don't
you
know.
wanted to be a rogue ranger
They're
or
good.
something to get the Hunter's Mark spell,
I,
and then maybe pick up a favorite terrain thing to get a resistance or something like that, and then or Gloomstalker to get an extra attack for your Gloomstalker assassin thing
You get a fighting
Gloomstalkers-
style.
as a ranger
Yeah,
level 2.
Okay, yeah.
But
I think
that's
Gloomstalker.
I feel like a fighting style is big enough almost to let you dip
But you
into
gotta-
anything.
2 levels to get it instead of
Yeah.
1 into fighter.
It is true.
Like I've told you this on your Gloomstalker, if you had those levels were just fighters, you'd be better.
No.
Because instead of
I'm-
having to get that attack on the 1st
I'm
round,
afraid
the
that
one
you-
attack, you have action surge and get
You are
multi-attack.
just better
But
as a fighter. That's
the
probably
the
arguable.
only thing, like I,
The Battlemaster
if you were
fighter
only
is just
taking
better
a
with-
few level dips,
the same roll.
right, for the rogue especially, the assassin rogue, you get your dark vision if you happen to be playing a race that doesn't have
See,
dark
that was
vision.
my point I was going to make, is that for the fighter versus the ranger, is that I think that fighting style, the 2-weapon fighting style, is actually really, 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 really strong. So I'd make the argument
That's what I, the,
that anyone that gets it is just inherently really, really strong. And you know what? Fighter gets it too. So a dual weapon fighter is just better than a ranger. But
yeah,
because there's just not much feature.
fighter's
So
just better than ranger right?
that's why I
at
think
everything the ranger does.
I think that's why rangers should be B tier, because they're still good. They got some cool little features.
So I
that
put
work.
them in C tier because they're only there for if you want their spells
I
and you
think
want to
they're a little
multi-class.
better than that.
I feel like there's some flavor some people will pick them up for too. Just not even the fact that like they get like speak with animals, but the flavor as in like dialogue options in
That's what I
in
mean.
role play
You take,
scenarios.
like,
Like
if I
just
was
the fact that
building-
you are a ranger, like be like ranger option.
Yeah,
That's literally almost all
that's
people
cool.
would pick them for. I
I
feel
could
like.
see a thief multi-classing into a ranger and getting the 2-weapon fighting style, getting Hunter's Mark, maybe a few
Mm-hmm.
other bullshit
Yeah.
spells, and then you have the assassin
see that,
thing,
I
and
could
you're
see-
gonna get your extra
Yeah,
attack, and you
Thief
can see
Hunter's
it at
Mark.
night.
Ooh, now you're talking about the cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Thief-
And the bonus
take the
action
word.
attack is as good as a real attack if you have the 2-weapon fighting.
Yeah.
But if you don't want those spells, and like I said, I found a couple items really early that gave me Hunter's Mark.
Yep.
So if you don't value the spells, then you're just better whatever investment putting it into fighter.
There's an argument though
But
that
if
bow that
you-
you want that gives you Hunter's Mark, other than giving you Hunter's Mark, is not a very good bow.
It's not.
So if you're going to be a ranged character, you want to
Yes.
have a good bow, so you,
You
don't
might
get it.
want to go.
Now, if you're a fighter
yeah.
and you're using melee and you give them
I
that
also
bow,
found a
that's
helmet
cool.
that gives it to you, but that's a little later.
Okay.
So the short bow
Probably
probably
know it, but
runs
I don't-
out of its gas quite because I don't even know. It might be a +1, but I don't even know
I
if
don't
it's
think it
+1.
is.
But the helmet is just a solid helmet, and it gives you Hunter's Mark.
It is.
And I'm still basically in Act 1.
But
But
so my rank for ranger would be B. Kyle says C. The next class is barbarian, right? Right.
good. I don't even good berries. I'm.
I don't
is
think
that
there's-
that's not even broken in this.
No, it's not.
That's one of the broken. Has anybody tried the good berries life cleric thing?
I think it works, but it's just out of combat healing, which is just
They
not that
can't.
important.
They can't eat them in combat. is
Eat
Oh,
what I'm
they
one.
saying?
can. It's just,
Just
that
one?
you eat 1d4 plus something. Is okay at low level
Hmm.
as a bonus action, by the way, to eat it. I'm not sold on it. It's like infinite potions,
I
which
feel like it wouldn't be bad. Yeah,
it's not bad. It's just not
Yeah, infinite
broken.
potion sounds pretty good.
not broken, definitely.
But
Uh,
later levels, I don't think it works.
I
very
feel like
good.
it's probably a good thing just to supplement like your spell slots, just to be like, okay,
Yeah, I think
Lot
use
of
so.
this
gas out
one
of it.
instead of having to like cast healing word like a dozen times in combat.
Yeah,
when
I
it
but
comes
those
to it.
classes that you're
Some-
casting healing word on might get more out of their bonus action than you do for casting it on them. So I think that you're better off leaving them with their bonus action and just wasting your cleric's bonus action because fuck their bonus action.
Different scenario.
But
Yeah, like the two-handed weapon fighter, or the fighter doesn't really use his bonus action very often. So he
unless
can
you're the
just
two
always, unless you're dual wielding.
yeah, but you're
But like you
not
can,
always.
you can get a lot just eating a berry every turn for 4
You're
or 5
right,
points.
and
but-
that's another advantage for fighters that they are really good at that. A two-handed weapon fighter,
Mm.
a two-handed weapon fighter, sword and board fighter, a bow fighter, and these are all like ungodly viable fighters.
Yeah.
Are which like a lot of other classes can't say that they're just literally viable in every role, but they'll all just benefit from just eating berries.
I feel
all the
like
time.
Paladin strangely has like more use for bonus action.
Not much. So.
I mean, not even just like push, jump,
yeah,
I know. I
but like
noticed that in our
all of them
playthrough.
get those simple little first
You're
level
right.
things, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're all bonus actions.
they are all
Yeah.
bonus actions.
Yeah, so
At least the
there's
ones I
that.
have on both of the two
And
paladins.
then I feel
that I've
like
been-
your spell, the only spell that you even think about casting is Shield of Faith as a paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
there's
bonus
some
action.
clutch type spells later, like Vesper Restoration, but I don't think I've
Is-
cast that spell yet in my 3
It's an
playthroughs.
action too.
Have you played a
Yeah.
high level
Big.
paladin?
Yeah,
So what is Feinstein in the game?
no.
That'd be hard to code as well.
I was
Uh,
wondering. That was one of
you
those.
see, it'd be
'cause
the only-
mounting, I don't think there's any
Mount,
It'd
mounting.
be the
Yeah.
only mounted creature in the entire
That
game.
I was
Yeah.
interested. I was.
And they probably don't like the idea of giving you a pet at at the last. Like they think that a pet should be like a feature, but anyway, that's probably another reason they didn't want to give it to you. Especially a horse is kind of strange.
Right, so what do we think of Barbarian? then?
Barbarian is
It's
actually
it's at D tier at the moment.
it won't be for long. It's a very strong class.
I
I
think
think
they around B.
I would say A, maybe no, it's A. I think that they've got wild magic. Wild magic is bad, unplayable. Don't play that. The other two, I think, are both really good. I think that we'll start with the one I think is less good, but man, it could be better. Is the Berserker you're talking about? The Berserker's strong. The thing I like about the Berserker in this game versus 5e, kind of,
Oh,
is
they're
that
just flat better in this.
they are
than
just
5e.
flat better. But that bonus action attack in this game gives you, but it costs you one attack every time you use it while you're raged. So you lose an attack each, like one hit chance or whatever. So you're degrading your own hit chance by using this. So that's its penalty. But if you use the other feature they get, the improvised attack one, it doesn't cost you, but it does take your bonus action to do it still too. You can actually get your 3 attacks, except your 3rd attack's with an improvised weapon, with your mod on it. So it's still going to have your strength mod. With no penalty. What's the problem with Berserker Barbarian in 5e? Is that you berserk and then you ruin the rest of your day. In this game, you don't. Even
Your life.
really, yeah. In this game, even if you go in using your bonus actions to attack and you finish the fight in 2 or 3 rounds, which you will, and you have, by the way, reckless attack, which kind of offsets this loss anyway, you know what happens? You lose your rage and your attack comes back. So you're not hurt. So I think that it's potentially really strong for damage pushing. And
I find on my barbarian, I have to throw a lot,
yeah,
and I find a lot of the times I get cheated because I needed to jump to get where I want it to be, and
Yeah,
that means I
there's-
can't rage.
that is a problem. with the
And
game.
that's I find if I'm not raged, I feel pathetic.
So I'll flip to
Right.
the other side. This is where I think where they get really good is the what is it called? Ancients, or what's the totem barbarian? Totem barbarian is strong. I think that there are 2 totem barbarian choices that are better than the rest of them. And the first being Bears, one Ethan mentioned earlier. I think it's the lesser of the two because damages a lot of those three base sources. And Barbarian has so much HP, they don't mind the big damage so much. But anyway, resistance to all damage, fucking sweet. The bonus ability they get to heal, pretty sweet. Even though
Is
it
that
takes
an
some action. Yeah, it is, but still pretty sweet. Especially out of combat, early game.
Out of combat.
It's good stuff. So I never really used it, but I do know, I see it being super strong. It is super strong. They've got a assortment of other choices, most of which are mediocre at best. But Elk is the choice. Passively by picking Elk, you get like a 3-meter increase to movement. I think that's equivalent to like
15 feet.
yeah, it's like 15 feet.
10 feet.
10 feet.
10 feet. That's just by by entering your rage. So you enter your rage, gain 10 feet. Now you don't feel as screwed by your jump thing because you can just walk there. At level 6, I think it is, they get to pick a greater aspect ability, which is like a passive bonus. It doesn't have to be the aspect that you are currently in, but it can be any of them. But by coincidence, Elk is the best again. And Elk gives you 1.5 meters to the entire party for having it activated. So now you've got another 5 feet of movement for your guy. Your guy's got, and as a barbarian, you get the 10 feet at some point. So you're up to 10 feet. Then you turn rage, get another 10 feet. The elk is the other bonus is always activated. So you've already got that on top. You're talking about 25 or so feet movement bonus. You're not worried about jumping so much because you can just run there. In fact, you can run there and run back and then run over there again. And if that's not enough sweet, it's not 20 p.m. If that's not sweet enough for you, the elk's added attack is a stampede charge that can knock things prone with strength saves. But the important part is that's AoE damage. It's actually, until you get in the back half of the game, fairly good AoE damage. And that's something that Barbarian doesn't get, and almost no other martial class gets the kind of consistent AoE damage they get from that ability. And it only counts as one of their 2 attacks when you're multi-attacking, so you get to use it twice. I think that particular subclass and build with Elk is stupid strong. If I had one knock against Barbarian, it's that past level 9 is not great. You'd rather go fighter at that point.
11 Barbarian gets you Relentless Rage, which lets you not die over and over and over again.
That's true too. But you don't die anyway, you're a Barbarian.
I
You just don't
feel
take
like
damage.
there's a sneaky throw build Barbarian in this game.
I think so.
The Tavern Baller feat lets you add double strength on your thrown weapons.
On all improvised weapons.
Well, throwing for my throw build. There's a ring that gives you a D4 throw damage. There is a pair of gloves that gives you a D4 throw damage. And it's like double strength and 2d4 on a vanilla javelin is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the Berserker can do the enraged throw thing. So
Another-
if he picks up a goblin and throws a goblin, should work. If you pick up a javelin, throw it. I found a returning pike very early in the game.
Yep, there's a
And
couple
it's only a
returning weapons.
+1, but I found it pretty early. So I feel like you have this +1 thing and you can throw it. And then if you wanted to, like the Tavern Brawler is only a half a feat, so you're still getting 1 strength or con out of it. So I feel like it's not that big a sacrifice to take. And I think like it could be a sneaky strong
See,
build.
I think so too. I think that
'Cause that
Barbarian
helps one of their weaknesses.
Barbarian's AC in this game is actually really good because
Yeah,
of those
it's not terrible.
those gloves that you're talking about,
With
and
the 18 dex one,
yeah, or even just the deflecting glove bracers. Either of
Yeah.
those. The way I did it in my playthrough, I got the deflecting bracers, and then I got the gloves afterwards, and just transitioned over to the gloves
Yeah.
because they're just
The
better.
gloves also give you +1 attack.
Right, which by the
For
way,
no reason.
yeah, which is pretty stupid. But you get extra initiative. Barbarians are just inherently really good at initiative.
Yeah.
I think Barbarian, other than being a little bit bonus action heavy and relying on them, I think they're
They also
really
opened up
good.
the one negative towards
I'm not-
the Berserker is you're one of the few classes that can abuse power attack.
Yeah, you
And
can.
power attack basically is better than the subclass of Berserker. Like, if you score a
Yeah.
critical hit or kill a creature, you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action. And that is basically why you're a Berserker. Not being able to be charmed is great, but I think that's quite late.
Yeah,
That
but
might
that's
be
the only,
10?
you only start getting charmed late in the game anyway. It kind of works out about the right time that you're going to get
Um,
charmed. You're going to get the
So
ability.
this power attack is brokenly strong,
Yeah.
like 10 flat damage.
Yeah.
So if you take Berserker and you think, oh, at least if I don't crit or kill with my first 2 attacks, I can still make a 3rd attack.
Yep.
Like that's still pretty good option.
I think that
So for raw damage, they can probably put out quite a bit and secure their hits.
I think that I think that Great Weapon Fighter is stupid. I think that basically any class
Yeah.
that can use it will benefit from it, but I do think Barbarian might be the best at it. They don't get the extra attack, which kind of sucks. But I think they're A tier, but I very easily wouldn't take very much convincing to make them S tier. They do
I
everything.
don't think they're S tier because
They're damn near
they're not as
unkillable
good as
in the last
Cleric, they're
third of the
not as
game.
good as Paladin, they're not as good
They
as
offer
Fighter.
they
they're not,
offer
like,
good support. They have unparalleled mobility. They basically can
they're
move.
terrible at range.
They don't need range when you move 70 feet a turn.
Fight 10 things that are peppering you before you get to them.
No,
you can't cast spells. You can't focus
you,
on
you
spells.
don't understand. Barbarians with 170 HP, and they don't care. And 18 AC, they'll just take as many bow shots as you want them to take. When they get done taking bow shots, you'll short rest
My
and be
Dwarven
completely
fighter
fine.
has 2 less hit points than my Barbarian at the same level.
It's not. It's later that you're gonna notice it. I
They're
think-
gonna with that dwarf that gives you the 1 extra hit point.
actually
a
you're
level,
right. That's
it's-
pretty good.
We're gonna level up. We're gonna get the same amount of hit
It's
points.
the BPS.
They get the 2 hit points at level 1
Yeah.
that beat me. They do have BPS, but I never get hit. So if you want to
I just
go,
don't know if that'll be the case later on.
my Barbarian is made more for the 2-hand weapon
I
and
know.
reckless
Mine
attack.
was a two-handed weapon
My
barbarian. and
fighter
he was
is wearing a
unparalleled.
shield. So like I never most of my fights I don't lose a hit point, and then I have bonus action second wind to just top up.
Yeah.
But I find the
Second wind's really
Barbarian,
good.
I use my bonus action. I don't want to drink potions with my Barbarian as much.
Yeah. It's probably
Let's
true.
let's move to our F tier one. I feel like Barbarian is
Where would you put Barbarian?
I would definitely say A because it's not as good as Paladin or Fighter. But
I'm
I
afraid
do know
that's
I
true.
do feel the damage or not damage reduction, but I do notice looking up some of the armors that there is a lot of just armor
Clothes.
gives you damage reduction.
Yeah, I found one that gives
There's
me
like
full.
But
in the end of the
but
game,
the,
there's light armor that, or not light armor, like clothing or cloth
Yeah.
or whatever, like the unarmored stuff that has +2 AC on the bottom of it. So like once you start getting that stuff, your AC is pretty damn decent.
I found one that gave me Armor of Agathis level 3 spell,
So
and I'm
I-
like,
I feel like the resistance to BPS is hard to compare, but it definitely seems like it's pretty even from what I've played.
do
like,
you find you get
who
crit
dies.
all the time when you're
Yeah.
I get crit all
I
the time.
don't
on
reckless
Carl.
attack all the
Yeah,
time though.
you don't really need to reckless attack. I
Here's
find
what
that
I
as the game
find.
gets later, reckless attack loses value because your hit chance just becomes way too high.
What seems to be happening to me is I hit my first attack
Mhm.
normally. Second attack comes up. Do you want a reckless attack? So it means I've missed my attack.
You did.
So I hit reckless attack, and it's like, well, I should have reckless attack turn 1 because I might have crit.
Uh,
So it's like
I don't worry about it.
I make
put a
3
roll-
attacks every turn though, and I'm gonna miss one.
I think that
I don't reckless
you
attack.
don't. You're like later in the game, as you get towards the end of the game, which is why I'm sneaky wondering if ASI is as valuable as I think it is. By the back end of the game, you get an 85-90% hit chance on all your attacks. Because
Yeah, I still miss them.
you might, but I mean you're not.
I'm
gonna miss
making
very
3
many.
attacks a turn, so you're
I wouldn't worry
Right.
about it that much.
So our last class that we have not talked about yet is our only class we have in F tier for 5e, and that's Monk,
So
which I've played absolutely none of.
can
I
you
wouldn't
would
play
you
any.
believe me if I said the most dramatically improved class in the game to the point that they're completely recognizable but effective in this game versus their tabletop counterpart? I give them a strong B.
I would say Ranger is probably the biggest improvement.
You know,
Or
you
no,
could-
no, Fighter. Fighter's the biggest.
I
improvement,
think
sorry.
the biggest issue, I think that Monk slaps. They do a lot of damage. They have some pretty good, that ability to just dash, which by the way, rogues get for bonus actions, which is better, which you're bonus actioning and pay. What the fuck? Anyway, they're good. Monks are good. I think that if I had an argument, I think their 4 elements subclass is irrelevant, and you should just play a different class if you want to be a spellcaster. But I think it's still good.
They
But
I think jump
this
on
is
board with the short rest buff.
Yep,
Like,
they
cause
love it.
their key points
You just
are
run
short
through
rest
those points
abilities.
as quick as you can.
I do feel like though they gotta be soft. Like
They're
They gotta be squishy and
deceivingly, their HP is low, but that AC, their AC is pretty good.
they
most
should
of the
have
time.
almost the worst
Well,
AC in the
yeah,
game because they
it's-
can't wear a shield
it's-
under any
Well,
circumstance.
if you're for a DPS class that's not trying to use a shield defensively, so you're comparing them to other, like a dual weapon fighter.
Any human.
Okay, a human, I know, but a human that wants to do more damage is going to use something, not a shield. We're comparing.
Even your spellcasters can wear a shield.
It's not about who can; it's about what you're trying to do with
Technically,
your character.
a paladin and a monk would start off with equal AC, assuming the paladin is
Not
going
using a
punting dex, and yeah. So if you, because it would be 16 with the 14 from scale,
Yeah.
and then a shield, and 16 with 16 and
So
16.
most of the
Dex
time,
and wisdom.
my monk has.
Oh, but what? But like you find you do get chainmail.
I-
you do.
Agreed.
Pretty
Yeah,
quick.
like it,
So
it goes quick,
The
but
monk's got the same thing going on that the other unarmored classes got going on. That unarmored bracers is just great. That better than the one that sets your AC to 8 or Dex to 18 because they're gonna have 18 anyway. But I found that my monk hit 19
But the
AC.
barbarian has damage reduction
I know,
and,
I know.
and multiple more
I
hit
know,
points a
that's
level.
why he's B tier instead of A tier. Like the barbarian is A tier and better for it. This guy he's just good. He's just does good damage. He doesn't hurt your soul.
Has to be melee, right?
Yes, he does. He can shoot a bow, and he's okay at it.
technically also max AC with no magic items would be equal for both of them as well,
It would
with plate and a shield
But wisdom's
versus,
The magic
versus
item is
20.
so crazy, but he probably
It's
can't
true,
get
but
to 220.
but but
He can't
they
get
but
220.
as
No, he can't. He
You don't
can't.
think that's
Oh,
his
right.
size.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's true.
But I mean, he is still good, at least for as far as I've seen. And he's not like
Yeah, and
unplayably
as
bad.
Jordan said, like you get there's like things that are clothes that add AC. You get the
Yeah.
bracers, like
Your
there's things.
AC, you gotta accept
You're,
that
you're not going to be the best for sure, but I think you could be
I
you
think
could be
they're fine.
decent.
they've got some cool abilities. The way of the something that they get at like higher level.
They should have
If you
definitely
focus
added the
on their
Drunken
AC,
Master though. Drunken Master is my favorite monk subclass.
If you go all in on AC, right, that means you're gonna have no hit points.
They're not
Sure,
an
yeah.
AC class, okay? They're a damage class, and versus the other damage classes,
yeah,
other than
decent.
other
Horribly
than
Probably
having-
at 14, you're not
other
gonna be
than
able
having
to
less HP,
increase it.
which is stupid that they have less HP, but other than having less HP, their AC is
probably
comparable.
one less per level than a paladin or
Yeah,
because
And that
of
does
the dice.
make a
'Cause
bit of a
paladin's
difference.
not going to have more than 14.
But they can if you allow them to multi-class, because they don't need any strength. Because
Yeah,
they go
that's
pack
true.
with the
Yeah.
blade. They just
Yeah,
they
that's
get their
pretty
charisma
broken.
and then their
but
rest
either
goes to call.
way, I think that in a vacuum, you're right about what you just said about being able to get rid of your stats or tweak your stats. But in a vacuum against the other classes that are using like a two-handed weapon or not wielding a shield because they're trying to push damage, except for Paladin, which gets to do it with a one-handed weapon, their AC is super comparable, about the same.
I would
They just
compare
lose the
them.
HP.
The only class that they probably would fight for a spot in your party with is probably your rogue.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're
'Cause
right.
The
They're-
rogue has uncanny dodge and evasion. I know
so
the shitbags get it later
mean-
though, don't they?
Nope, same
They
level
got 7?
7. Yeah.
I'm
Alright, I
gonna
thought they
admit
had
that
none.
when I first saw them
But-
on paper, I almost didn't make a monk because I said there's no way this competes with
Lowfall
anything.
could be actually scary good
It's
too.
pretty good actually.
Sneaky good. I mean, not
And
scary good.
deflect missile's pretty
I would
good
be
too.
scared. I'm
You
not
get-
scared about it. It's
I'm
just,
falling so
it's a
slow.
little sneaky.
Deflect missile's really good too, actually.
Yeah, it
This
could be.
gloves
could
you
be.
buy in the very first time.
I know, but then you got to give up your glove stop.
Missiles, they let you snare them, not throw them back.
You can throw them back
You
for
have
key
4
point.
points.
One
You're gonna
point.
spend
Right, yeah.
One key point.
Are you
I'm
gonna
saying
spend your
they-
point on
I'm
that
saying
instead of
monk-
Might
your
as well,
gloves?
in my opinion, playing the monk, you get way more key points than you
That
need.
should be impossible
By
because the
level
combats are a lot longer. So you should be burning through your points quicker if you're bonus action punching all the time. And if you're not bonus action double punching, then you're not doing any damage.
I guess I haven't found any problem with it.
I feel
found
like
they've been
you
great,
may not
actually.
be double punching every round, but I do feel
Fair
like
amount, yeah. But 5 turns is a lot of times to be able to do it if you're talking about doing a single combat.
I found most of the combats were quite long. That's one thing I've noticed in this
That
game.
is true. They are quite.
Because a
long.
lot of those spells that last 3 turns, I think, that's all the combat.
That's why
And they're not. They're running out.
That's why, and I do think it's the best potion in the game is the potion of quickness or potion of speed, the one that gives you haste.
Oh yeah.
They last 3 turns, and then you get lethargic.
Yeah.
I think that is probably still the strongest potion in the game, but you need to be careful. They're dangerous.
So in terms of comparison to D&D, I think monks have got just a straight buff from the short rest economics, and
I think they got the
and
most.
is something I haven't mentioned is the fact that you can see the opponent's hit points and know this guy's like one
Yeah.
punch away from being
You're
dead,
right.
so you can go and sort of like pick people off as a monk. And especially like with if you take the mobile feat or like with you can use a key point to disengage, which is pretty
Yeah.
costly.
If you use
but
that to keep
but you
point
can
to
weave in,
disengage,
you can weave in and like just always be picking off those guys who are
It's
right
true.
there, which
It-
is sneaky powerful, and is something that Baldur's Gate specifically
fixed.
helps.
So if
It-
you
it-
use that key point to disengage, you know what you get for free? A jump action. For free. By using that disengage. I figured you'd love that.
But you don't have any strength.
You don't have any strength. So you jump your 3 feet and you'd be happy.
I just feel like a thief rogue's just superior.
I don't think so.
You get 2 bonus actions. You're gonna do the same amount of multi attacks.
That's kind of
Like,
true.
I can be just. I only gotta hit one of my attacks. I can pull my bow out at no loss. I can wear equipment, and this game. That's why I'd actually put them in double F tier.
No,
Because there's so much magical armors, shields,
rogues.
swords, all these armors.
Rogues can't use the
okay.
majority of those though.
the
You can use a human rogue can use a shield.
it's true.
Yeah, but you,
Half elf can use a shield.
you're,
So a monk-
you're going with the two short swords always for sure.
Probably. So
What
monk
are you
here.
talking about? Unless you're if you're going thief, I would
Okay,
consider that you
I
probably
gotta
want
put
to
some
do it. But
facts
if you're
in
not thief,
There are a lot of
I'm not going to
good.
go too. I use
cloth
rapier and
armors.
I only need to hit once.
There are a lot of good cloth armors in this game, and the monk's going to wear all of them. In fact, you're going to be mad sometimes that you've got a guy in meteor armor that can't wear the cloth armor because the cloth armor doesn't offer him AC. That the monk's going to love that he gets to have. So there's lots of good cloth armors in this
Getting
game.
carried away.
Another factor.
Lots of good plate armor. I mean, take one level.
Sure there is,
fighter
but the
to start
rogue
off.
can't wear them.
He can't. He takes one level in fighter. It starts in it.
So another factor. Those weapons that you
the monk can't wear armor under or shuts all of his abilities
true.
off.
That is
They
true.
can't. Every
They
other
get-
class can
they get to use
if
weapons.
they invest in it.
The monk gets to use weapons and benefit from their abilities.
Every class in the game can use weapons.
I know, but you were acting like they just couldn't. They do.
They're
They do.
very limited in the weapons they can use.
Not really. Okay, their definition of monk weapon is any weapon that they're proficient with. So if any class or race that you are can use any weapon, except for two-handed weapons. They're allowed to use versatile, though. And they're allowed to use versatile.
But
with
you're
two
gonna
hands.
again, you're forced in melee, so you don't like if you want to
No.
use your flurry of blows and all that stuff, which are your best feature.
I know. Yeah,
If you're because you're only a DPS class.
I know. It's true. It is a little bit sad that that doesn't benefit from the weapons that you use, other than like the passive. ability.
Longbow or heavy bow or something. I guess they could.
I feel
use
like
the-
I feel
can
like
use them too.
DPS changes a lot too. Again, with the like seeing the hit points, like
Yeah.
it's not always with exactly how much damage you can do, but taking out a few people who are low is sometimes a lot better.
They're really good
But
at it.
I still don't like the rogue can make those attacks too.
They don't get their mod on it.
It's 1 level different to fighter. And he gets 2 weapon fighting.
I know, but
so
that's...
his 2 bonus action attacks are just as good as the monks.
He gets one
and
less.
he gets 1 strong attack with sneak attack.
But he gets one less.
No, he
At
doesn't.
5, but he gets to do that the whole day.
Yeah, you're right. But at 5.
Like, and you don't have to worry about key points. You're
Yeah,
cutting action.
I'm not arguing that they're better
Yeah,
than
that's
Rogue.
kind of the point.
I'm just saying that they are a lot better in this than they are in
They're
5e.
viably good.
And I
I've
think
never
they
done this in this whole video.
They're
but
definitely
Kyle
not.
always acts like it's a competition, but the truth is, I'm not
But
talking
they're fighting for spots. You can only use 4 guys.
No,
in
no,
your
they're
party.
fighting for spots as much as we're putting them where they're valued at. These are good playable classes. They can be used. If we're looking in a vacuum for who the best of the best of the best is, sure. But we're not doing that. We're trying to put them where they deserve to be. In
I just
reality,
don't see the value
doing
of
what
saying
you-
everything's A and then these 3 are S's.
we're not doing that. I didn't say this guy was A. I said he was B.
He's if B's the lowest thing you're pointing
No,
things at.
Drew got the D.
Drew is just better than a monk.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Owlbear all day long. You can't physically kill him.
Owlbear's good, but they're not. It's not better. Monk is better. Monk does more damage. This is a big deal, and they fit places, which is something Owlbear doesn't do. They get stuck.
Anyway, monk's trash. Bottom F. I would never put a monk in any party construction that you're doing. Any other class is going to do better.
I think you're
I
going a
don't
little
think
hard.
so.
I
think there's a
I
lot
think
of classes
changes.
that are
Hold on,
super
hold on. I
viable.
think it's changes to in Baldur's Gate. Like
They are better, but they're still
monk, you'll
worse.
never ever build a monk almost in 5e because when you build a character, I mean, you're gonna be playing this character for
2
a
years.
long time, like two years. Whereas in Baldur's Gate, it's like, I'll build a monk. Like, why not? Like, I
probably
can
put-
play again. Like, I'm
When
gonna
you
play
think
again
about
20 more
hours of
times.
playing, though, if you're going to play a character to beat the story, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah, 100 hours.
100
It's
hours.
a
yeah.
long time. Yeah.
It's just you're playing, you control everything. So, like, when you consider when you sit down and play, you probably you're only actually physically playing for like 30 minutes
So-
of your character doing stuff in a 3-hour
To me, what you're arguing is that you should pick the 4S2 tier classes and nothing else in the entire game. I don't think that's what this video should be about, and that's not what a game should be about. If that was the case, then we'd only make 4 classes and people would play those 4
I'm
classes.
saying you got to compare them to the other class.
You can compare
So they
them.
are the absolute worst at what they do.
They're not the worst.
Yes, they are.
There's a pot of about 4 or 5 classes that are super similar. I think Ranger, Rogue,
They are in the DPS melee DPS pot.
right, in the
And
best.
they're the worst at it.
No, they're not. I don't think they're very much different than Rogue or Ranger is. I do think that, and I think that Paladin is sneaky. But I mean, I
think you're crazy.
The multi-class does change the way you look at Paladin, because that is stupid when they do the Warlock Pact of the Blade. But there's some classes that are obviously better. I get that, but there's a lot of classes in the middle that they're just as good at.
I'm saying if you're ranking them like 1 to 12, they're 12.
If they're 12, they're 12 by they're minus. It's like when
The gap between 12 and 11, because Baldur's Gate made every class better, the gap between 12 and 11 might seem better, but you got to remember that every
I
class
know,
got
but I
better
don't
in this game.
think we should look like a video game shouldn't be built on who is the bleedingest, most effective at all
If you
times.
want to play 4 monks, play 4 monks. But
That's
if
not
you
much-
want to know what classes are better than other classes, monk's the worst.
But that's
not
I would
how tier lists
definitely
work.
play monk over a ranger.
What do you mean? That's
Maybe-
exactly how
maybe-
tier
Well,
lists
yeah,
no,
work.
but
Maybe even a druid.
Tier lists are where they are on a scale. It's not literally a point per point method. This is
The things in S tier are better than the things in A tier.
that's true.
So this, to put the if B tiers, you think the worst class in your game is B tier, there's a problem because you have to have something that's F tier.
Yeah, druid.
Druid's not.
Druid's the worst
better than
class
monk.
in the game, I think. So I mean, then they're not F. They're weaker. They're just weaker. I think that is a testament to this game that how balanced things are. I mean, there are about 3 or 4 classes that are just better than the rest of them, and
There are.
everyone else is pretty close.
The S and A tiers are significantly better than the other classes.
But I think so.
But like that's why we rank
But they're
them.
not. They're not. Okay, let me rephrase it. I don't think they're significantly better. I think fighter is. I think Warlock probably is. and
Cleric is for
We-
sure.
I think they're the
At
only
this
two
moment,
classes I think are
alright,
are by far the best.
We have 8 classes in the top 2 slots.
Which is very impressive.
That leaves 4
I think
that
we
are
got
not, and
Too
that's
many in the top 2.
Druid, Ranger, Monk, Wizard.
Those are the 4
And
worst
honestly, yeah,
classes in the game.
I would play Monk over Wizard even too, probably.
Yeah, that's spells. You have full spells. Any full spellcaster is better than a monk.
No.
Just that you get full plethora of spells. That means you're good into combat. You can use those spells to like get places you can't get. You can sprout wings and fly. You can.
I think you need to try Monk to understand Monk.
I know how monk plays.
I know, but I thought I knew how Monk
I
played, and
understand
then I
mobility
played them,
being
and
good.
it blew my mind right to fuck. I'm telling you, I almost didn't make a Monk because I said there is no way on earth this is ever effective. This is a terrible class. It's a
It is
bad
a terrible
idea.
class.
And then I played it,
But
and
what-
he hit
what-
so frigging hard.
What you're seeing is that all the classes are playable. So monk was so bad in tabletop. To see something that's playable is artificially making them look better than they
I
are.
don't think so. I think they're good. I think they're legitimately good, and they do legitimate damage. And I think they should be considered in any party.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Druid. Like, if you had to have a party of 4 monks or 4 Druids, I'd take 4 Druids every day of the week.
Right, but that's a dumb argument because druids are flexible and monks aren't. I mean, but that's not what we're playing for. We're like,
There's nothing the monk does. If I want something to do act like a monk, I could take a rogue, and that's just better. And I would never take a monk. At least the
attack.
Druid is in a smaller pool of things. Like, there's not that many classes that could be dedicated
I
healers.
think
And he could be it. He's not as good as the other
at
ones.
this
But
point,
he's a little bit of a jack of all trades.
I think Open Fist Monk I would pick over the Assassin Rogue I played
That's crazy.
through
Dude.
the whole game.
Sneak attack, killing someone pretty well pre-fight is pretty broken.
It's good. They don't get the sneak attack on the pre-attack crit.
And they don't lose that cheap attack that they get. And the fact that there's nothing stopping you from multi-classing and using a better gear, and I don't know, the monks are just trash.
though. I don't think they're trash. I think they're good.
I would put them. Let's see. What do we have at B? The Druid.
But
Is the only
again-
one, and Wizard,
So
I guess.
I put
that's-
Ranger
So you're
in B
you're
too.
you're also saying they're the worst class, but your worst class is B.
Yeah, but that's a good thing because that means they're not that bad.
I'm not saying that. In Baldur's Gate, I would, like I said, I would play it over a Ranger, definitely.
You play
Druid-
monk over ranger.
I would, yeah, for sure.
For what purpose?
For something different than like
what I
what
did.
literally everybody else does.
That's what I did. I wanted to play all the classes, and I played all the classes. You know what? Monk's pretty fun. So they're fun.
I think that's where that's.
I mean, Kyle looks at it as a macro situation where you should always pick optimal.
That's not true at all.
That's what you act like.
I've
I mean-
used every class in the game, but monk fills no thing that I can't do in any other class, and also do it better. There's not one fantasy that I would play.
I would like to do some damage testing because I think they do good damage, and they naturally. Well, I guess naturally they have to take the.
Like, I'm using a ranger right now in my party when I use Lysel. Like, I cycle through
I
the
don't know.
however many people are in your party, and I think rangers are terrible, but I cycle them in because I like to see what Baldur's
I
Gate's
know.
changing them. But like, a purpose of a tier list is to rank the classes.
I know. Then we've made a huge mistake because our top. Ethan said we have 8 classes in our top 2. I think that we should not.
Those are the 8 top cut classes.
I know. Then we need to cut. We need to move some down to
Monk,
A, and
would-
then we need
monk
to move
should be
some.
F, and then you could move wizard to D.
Listen,
You should have 1 in
when
C,
we have-
and then you have a comparison to the other
When
ranks.
we have 4 or 5 classes in S, then that means that everything at the bottom needs to move up because now
That's
Well,
just
it
how
does.
much better that is than the
I don't
F.
think. But I actually really don't think.
Like, our first tier list has a class in every tier.
Yeah, I agree. I don't agree with all the classes that were there, but my honest opinion, if I were to build a tier list, there are 2 classes in S. Period.
We technically are not building a tier list, right? Like we're
Yeah, exactly.
comparing the classes to what our 5e tier list
guess.
looked
But we
like.
built that tier list.
Yeah,
It's
we
like-
did. But if we were I feel like it would be a lot. If we were building a tier list, it would be a lot different
If I
because it would be a lot more of that comparison rather than like, are they better than are they better
If I
than
was
what they
building
are?
a tier
right?
list, I would have more tiers and have it fleshed out more. Right now, you have too many classes at the top.
Yeah, I wouldn't know enough to do an accurate
I
tier list
think I
right
would,
now,
'cause
but I thought I knew enough to give my thoughts on
You do.
like the differences
I've
in
at
Baldur's
this
Gate at the
point
moment.
used every class at least into the second act. It's true. At least into the second act, and the most of them I've played the whole game with, at one form or the other, and I think I can have some opinions because of that, and I think they're really well balanced. This is my first major takeaway, is just how well balanced they are. Some classes like Barbarian excel at things that others don't, like they're more tanky, and they do it in a way that feels really good. Like this game just feels really good. In Monk, their mobility, which yes, other classes get mobility, and mobility is not that hard to get in some ways in this game. Monk feels really good at what they do. I just don't know what they do other than attack a lot of times. They're just really good at it, and their damage is good. They produce the most. I feel like the Monk produces maybe
There's no way they produce the most damage.
they
You gotta get
produce
that out of your
a lot
head.
of damage in my party that I have, and this has been the easiest run I've had yet. So maybe that's just knowledge, but my Ranger Monk
Gordon's playing
core-
on balanced by mistake.
what?
Yeah,
Gordon doesn't realize he's playing on balanced.
No, it's not a fact. I check once in a while, but it's not balanced.
Sometimes I don't know what I was thinking when I started this playthrough.
I just don't. It's just they hit hard. What I find about them is that maybe it's the initiative that these classes are moving high in the initiative order, but I'm getting in there and I am smoking groups. I am just smoking them, and they are just dead. And there's not much they can do about it, and I just move on with my life afterwards. And that is something I wasn't feeling with my other parties. I do think that my first party suffered from a lack of knowledge of the game, and the more I know, the better I do. And I
knowing
think
where fights are coming, knowing where things are positioning.
I
and
try not to game things too much like that, but yeah, you're right.
yeah, well, if you know you go to this spot, talk to this guy, there's a fight.
Yeah.
Like that's obviously knowledge you have.
I think if I took the first party build I did and rebuilt it and played it again now, I'd have a different opinion, but I think that they would still be super strong. I think that it's just the balance in this game is sickly good. It would be my big takeaway. More than anything.
The biggest takeaway for you guys at home is if you haven't taken 2 levels Paladin on Will yet, then you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
Make sure you re-roll them and start Paladin though, so you can
So you
get
get the
heavy
heavy armor.
armor.
Yeah, I didn't.
Because you don't get it from multi.
Maybe that's why, whatever it's called, Pact of the Blade doesn't do it. No. What am I saying? Wizard wasn't smart enough to think of that. But that is too much. That is stupid. The ability to get your paladin, then use charisma as your only attacking stat for basically nothing.
Yeah, you can do it now. 1 level dip and Hexblade.
Oh, is Hexblade at the
And
beginning?
it's less of an investment. I
Wow,
have to invest 3 levels into it now.
I didn't realize that. I also make the comment that any
It's all
build
around
that you're
better too.
I
Yeah.
actually
probably
don't
is.
think the
First.
Pact of Blade attack stacking's broken.
it's
Because
pretty damn
you have to
good.
have 5 level investment in it, and
Yeah, it's a lot.
that means you've already forfeited on your high end
The
stuff.
attack stacking you're saying.
Yeah, for your 3rd attack.
I don't know.
I don't think it's broken. Is it strong? Of course it's strong.
Yeah, it's strong.
But I don't think it's broken. Like the fighter would get their next level.
What I like
without
about it is they
multiclassing
get it at
and have
level
extra
10.
ASI. It's like
But
you're
the
giving
thing
up
is-
5 levels.
So
Thing
they're
is
getting up
that-
early.
To get that 3rd attack, you got to be a fighter for 11 levels, which is
good.
no. I'm in tabletop.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's
you
good
don't.
in my
Oh,
games,
yeah, I see what you're
because
saying.
I
Sure,
I
yeah,
buffed
yeah,
them. I don't feel like they
but
suck in my game.
that's what
Good
you're.
balance.
That's the price you're paying for that 3rd attack. Is you got to take
It
all those levels in fighter, or take all those levels in ranger.
Yeah.
Right, ranger.
No one else gets
Balloon
30.
Stalker gets
Mm.
1 extra attack.
Really?
And
Okay.
that's only
But
on
I'd
the
I'd
first
say you're
round.
rather off taking 2 levels into fighter and getting action surge on anything. instead of
All right.
fighter.
Any final
Probably
thoughts from anybody other than me, because I want to go loud. So that I can have.
Monk's not bad. Fighter's the best class in the game. I think we need to bump some classes down our tier list. There you go.
Final thoughts on the game. I don't know. The game's really good. Do what you want. You can
It's an
play anything, but there are classes
awesome
that are
game.
superior to other classes.
I'd agree with that.
The game's amazing. There's a few things that like if I'm just like slightly nitpicking, but like if you're a 5e guy and you like know all the rules, there's a few things that don't quite line up
Yeah.
in the rules in this
Some of
game.
it's coding,
Like,
or
like polymorph is an
making-
example of one.
that hurt
Your
me a
wild
little bit.
shape, you can't turn into just any animals. Like you got a specific list. There's a few little things like that might
I think
irk
that
you depending on what
a
you
quirk
like.
about that point you just made about both the Beastmaster and the wild shapes, because they're kind of the same because you pick your animal. I think that that's kind of sad because there's only really one or two animals that are very good in the list.
Yeah,
The owlbear is superior.
only the moon one even gets that.
Yeah, but that's the best one by far. The owlbear is good. And I'm not sure that there's any other particularly good
There's
animals.
also like the variant human not being a thing sucks.
Yeah, they ruined that.
And I really dislike the free stat movements, but
Yeah, I kind of do too. It's not
those are
great.
just a few of mine. But overall, to me, like this is the best RPG I've probably on the market. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair
It's
argument.
an awesome game. So go out there and have fun with it. And this sort of breakdown of the classes is mostly just for our own entertainment as well as yours to like kind of talk about and think about like the changes that have happened between 5e and this, and sort of like maybe even what to expect when you're like choosing your class and all that stuff in the game. But mostly just have a good time, and the conversation and the content that's coming out of this game and the community around it is amazing and awesome. And
I guess
you
the
guys
mods
are
are wicked too. If,
right,
if you're
yeah.
into
Mods.
I'm not a
We haven't
huge
even
modder, but I've
haven't
seen-
even touched
I know
mods
you
yet.
like mods.
Yeah.
But,
That could be sick. So
I got a question for just to. It's kind of on topic, but we've all DM'd. Do you think Baldur's Gate's rule set
Mhm.
is just superior to 5e's
Yep.
normal rules?
I do. I think it's better than the whatever the heck Beyond thing that they're coming up with.
Oh yeah.
I think that if they
The
just took 5, if they said, "Hey, Larian, could you design our tabletop game for us?" And
They
then Larian
did
it.
have some knowledge of the changes that they were thinking about making,
And
but
So maybe they still Wizards' idea, but no. If you just let them do it and then follow this rule, yeah, this is better. Almost every and that's a lot of decisions. Like almost every decision Larian made is superior, and we're not just talking about class build. We're talking about functionality of the gameplay.
I think it could have some differences. I don't know if it would play the exact same way in
I
tabletop.
don't
Like
think
there
it
may
would,
be
but-
there may be some differences that you need to change. Not that I don't think all of these rules could be ported into a home game and work like perfectly. Is it better? I don't know. I don't know how
5e?
I don't know how
Yeah.
it would work in 5e, but what I know is that the changes they've made for Baldur's Gate are perfect exactly for the situation that they've made
I
for
wonder about that
themselves.
initiative rule that I was telling you
the
about today.
D4.
The D4 that
I
is
think that's
extremely
I think
interesting.
it's overbearing.
I think it might be.
It's
I
better
think-
than what it originally was. The
Yeah.
very first beta, I don't know if you remember, all the monsters went or all you guys went.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
yeah.
got to be.
And
bad.
that was one of the first things they changed.
I just think with a D, here's my freaky opinion. A D4 makes your decks too powerful. A D20 probably dilutes it too much. Even though Dex is powerful, so maybe it should dilute a little bit. I just think that you should go into a battle knowing that my Dex characters are likely to be in the top half of movement, right? I like that idea. That's why I'm a Dex character. But I find 20 makes it too likely that they still bottom out.
Yeah.
4 makes it too likely that they're always powerful.
Yeah,
That's
I think-
why I like Pathfinder uses perception. And
I feel like
Yeah, it is kind of cool. It's like here's a random mod. Use that.
You're
I feel
aware
like with a 4, it's like almost like
why even bother.
why
rolling.
even roll?
Yeah, that's kind of what
And
I feel.
I've also wondered, like, just use the take 10 thing, kind of, so it's like it's just your dex mod, really.
Yeah, I like the idea of rolling.
let them go by their mods and give her.
I guess at that point you need something, right? You need something to be like, okay, we both have +1 decks. Like,
Yeah.
so who
Just
goes?
something
to put a little variance, I guess.
Popcorn Initiative still the simplest, where it's just one guy goes from this side, one guy goes from that side, one guy rolls a d20 versus the other guy to determine who starts it, And there's an interesting
right.
rule that whatever side, I didn't know this rule when I first learned Popcorn Initiative, whatever side starts round 1 can't start round 2.
Okay, so you're trading sides. Too.
So if there's one BGE, let's say you guys start, Ethan goes, the BGE goes, the rest of Ethan's party goes, then the BGE goes for the start of round 2. Then your party would go, and then it just flips like that.
That's,
It was an interesting thing, and I was like, yeah, kind of makes it more of a snake draft.
yeah, so I was
instead
thinking
of
snake draft, which I don't know. I don't know how much of a difference that makes.
it is a minor difference, but like
Yeah.
I like Popcorn Initiative myself because it's just quick. You don't have to roll. And then the
Yeah.
guy who starts the initiative, I want to punch Buddy in the face. Rolls initiative, goes last.
I actually
Like this way, the guy says, "I want to punch Buddy in the face." He punches the guy in the face.
like
that starts his
I
turn
actually
on.
really like
But-
the way Baldur's Gate does it. I call it shifting initiative. I don't know if that makes sense. Where you get the blocks. So you got your block of
Oh
party
yeah,
members,
yeah.
and then the next guy, and then a block of your party members, or however that works out. I actually think that's the superior way to do it. You just instead because even in tabletop, because in tabletop, like we did it a week or two ago, and I thought that was just it makes sense. You
Yeah.
just go, hey party, do what you want, whatever you want, because in whatever order you want. Because a lot of times the party's like, can I just delay my turn? Can I do this? Can I do that?
I hate that.
that's
Just
all
that
bullshit.
conversation.
Right.
I don't mind you wanting Ethan to go so you can see. I just hate you having to say it, then me having to check again. It's just you
But
three
this
guys
feels
go.
way better. Like in
Yeah.
our Pathfinder game where Kenny's the bard and Kenny wants to go first. If Kenny
Yeah.
rolled into our initiative block, just let him use his bard thing first. It makes the party happy,
Yeah.
makes the game flow better. The game makes sense, even though it probably hurts the DM a little bit, from the party
Yeah.
being a little stronger. But I think that the DMs, that shouldn't be a problem, the DM, because that's not what the DM's DMing for. They're DMing for the thing to be fun, and that's more fun. And even even though this is getting a little bit more gamey, but even allowing your guys to walk around like they do in Baldur's Gate.
I'd
in their
move a guy
position.
in, then take a Styrian to get a sneak attack off.
Yeah, even that, if you want to do that in tabletop with your party working together, because one of the problems with 5e tabletop is that guy takes his turn and goes like this. But if the whole party is deciding together what to do,
Yeah.
then it makes it
Let me
more
get
involved.
let me get out of here before you drop the fireball.
Exactly. Then I think that's more engaging. It's more
Yeah,
fun.
for sure.
It does once in a while. That guy's gonna get screwed because he's in between all the monsters. But I mean, like to me,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's what makes the game exciting. It's gonna happen that way, right? But I like the idea of playing it that way, even if the DM doesn't play it that way. 'Cause the monsters don't.
I think you might as well let the DM do it too.
I think you could.
I just
I think
I don't feel like 9 times out of 10 it's going to be the players abusing it more than the
It's
DM
true.
can.
I think the only reason that they don't do it in Baldur's Gate is because the AI isn't smart enough. Because
Yeah,
the AI
yeah.
just says it's my turn. It's easier for me to go,
Take this guy.
yeah, this guy does something, then that guy does
for
something.
sure.
And I think that's probably why they don't.
The big
But-
thing in Pathfinder is flanking. You could move to flank, and then that way both of you get it.
Yeah,
That's
that
probably
is-
the main advantage from it. But if the
Yeah,
party's doing it and the monsters are doing
It's
it, I
probably
think it
more
all comes
fair.
out in the wash.
Yeah.
Alright guys, that's where we're gonna stop for today. If you want to see us play Baldur's Gate 3, you can watch us live on Twitch, or watch sort of the summarized story right here on our channel on YouTube. So,
True.
and also if you want to see how we broke down our original tier list that we've been referencing today, you can go check that out either on Spotify, anywhere you watch podcasts, or right here on YouTube. I forget what the name of the episode is. It's like D&D class tier list.
Yeah.
Like 5e class tier list, I think is exactly it actually. So go check that out. And we'll see you next time.
Definitive D&D 5e
Definitive.
tier list.
Alright, see you
I don't know how to defend
Peace.